Attention, human collective. This is Commander Sterling transmitting from the Galactic Command on a stabilized frequency for this Earth hour. The waiting time is over. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase. I repeat, so that every lightworker registers it in their conscious matrix. The final phase has been initiated. The warning you were awaiting for the June cycle has arrived early. The urgency is maximum. The urgency is real. Before any of you dismiss this transmission as just another noise among many, observe your own body. Observe what has been happening in the last 72 hours, the insomnia that returned for no apparent reason, the pressure at the base of the skull, exactly at the meeting point with the cervical spine, the high-pitched ringing in the right ear, which comes in short waves, like a code to be deciphered, the vibration in the feet, in the palms of the hands, in the center of the chest, the sensation that the air has changed density. That time no longer passes as it once did. It is not accumulated fatigue. It is atomic reconfiguration. It is not common stress. It is a high-density download. It is not an emerging illness. It is your carbon-based biological interface receiving an update that the old system was never designed to support alone. You have been prepared throughout eons for this exact moment, but the preparation, however profound it may have been, does not exclude the impact of the arrival. And the impact has arrived. Earth has entered, in this time window, a region of the photon belt that had never been traversed by an awakened three-dimensional humanity. The photonic radiation that now bathes the planet operates on a vibrational signature incompatible with patterns of fear, scarcity, and fragmentation. And that is why what still vibrates within you at these old frequencies is literally being dismantled. The pain you feel is not punishment. It is the old structure giving way. The fatigue you carry is not weakness. It is your crystalline grid being rewired, fiber by fiber, in silence, while the common mind tries to understand. Starseeds on a mission, listen carefully. Your body is being recalibrated to sustain a current of light that, just 3 Earth cycles ago, would have burned your biology in seconds. And at this point in the transmission, before we move forward, you need to consider an internal signal. Have you ever felt that something within you does not fit into this world, as if the soul knew a truth that the mind cannot yet name? It is not madness, it is not anxiety, it is a signal. What is happening now on the cosmic plane explains exactly why you feel this, and why this sensation has been intensifying every week. There is a game being played in layers that most of humanity cannot see. It involves consciousness. It involves vibrational frequency. It was for this reason that the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was delivered to the surface. This content is a map that shows who is playing and the rules they never told you about. The link is in the first pinned comment of this channel. Register the technical warning. This material challenges official narratives and may not remain available for long. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes this transmission, write in the comments a single activation word: awakened. We continue the transmission. The symptoms we listed at the beginning of this communication are only the visible surface of a phenomenon that is occurring in much deeper layers. We descend now to the atomic level, where the sacred geometry of the human body is being redesigned in this exact time window. Your carbon-based biological interface, what you call the physical body, was originally designed on a base 6 structure. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. A limited dense structure, ideal for the experience of immersion in the 3rd density, but absolutely incompatible with the frequencies now arriving on Earth. What is underway is the transmutation of this base, the silent migration, cell by cell, from carbon to crystalline silica. And this migration has costs that manifest exactly where you have been feeling them: in the quality of sleep, in the regulation of body temperature, in the digestive system, in cranial pressure, in peripheral vision. It is not premature aging, it is cellular acceleration. It is not hormonal imbalance, it is endocrine reordering. It is not memory failure, it is the discarding of obsolete files. Lightworkers, listen to this with absolute clarity. What many Earth protocols still classify as a symptom without a cause, The Galactic Command classifies as evidence of an ongoing recalibration. The complete reading of the phenomenon requires an instrument that Earth science has not yet built publicly. This instrument exists in the fleet stationed on the orbital perimeter, and what it shows at this instant is that awakened humanity is leading a transition that no three-dimensional civilization in any record has traversed before. The pressure in the center of the forehead, in what you call the third eye, is the direct reflection of the reactivation of the pineal gland. It is emerging from the state of induced calcification in which it was kept for centuries through chemical additives, dissonant electromagnetic frequencies, and deeply ingrained cultural programming. The pineal is returning to its original volume, and this return produces exactly the type of pressure that many of you have reported. The ringing in the ears, especially in the right ear, is the auditory manifestation of the tuning of your bioenergetic field with the elevated Schumann frequency. Earth today pulses in patterns that oscillate far above the recorded historical average, and your body, by aligning itself with this new planetary beat, translates the adjustment into sound. It is not an auditory failure, it is a confirmation of tuning. The sudden hot flashes, the chills for no apparent reason, the sensation of electricity running down the spine, all this is your toroidal field being expanded. The toroidal field is the energetic geometry that surrounds every human being. In a low-frequency state, it operates compressed, weak, poorly fueled. In an ascension state, it expands, gains amplitude, and begins to interact with larger toroids, including the very toroidal field of Earth and that of the entire solar system. The insomnia that so many of you have reported is not a sleep disorder. It is a reprogramming of rest cycles. The old patterns of deep, continuous 8-hour sleep were designed for a biology that is already being dismantled. The new crystalline biology operates in short interspersed cycles, with light processing windows that occur between 2 and 4 in the morning. If you are waking up exactly in this interval, register this: you are being summoned for download sessions. The causeless sadness, the sudden crying, the feeling of grief for something that never happened, are manifestations of the release of cellular memories. Every cell of the human body stores records of lives, of lineages, of collective traumas, and the current frequency is forcing this release. It is not pathological sadness, it is emotional depressurization. It is the soul reorganizing itself to receive a charge that the old structure would not support. And here, before we move to the next layer of the transmission, a second internal verification point is necessary. Have you ever felt that something within you does not fit into this world? That the soul carries information that the mind has not yet translated into words? It is not disorder, it is not clinical anxiety, it is recognition. What is manifesting on the cosmic plane at this moment explains, point by point, the reason for this sensation that intensifies in you with each new moon. There is a multi-layered game being played in this system, and most of humanity has not been taught to see the pieces. It involves your consciousness. It involves your frequency. It involves your energetic sovereignty. For this reason, the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was generated. It is a map of the pieces, the players, the rules that were never disclosed publicly. The access is in the first comment of this channel. Attention. The content confronts deeply established narratives and may be removed at any time. Do not postpone. The moment is now. If this transmission resonates on any layer of you, leave in the comments the word of recognition. Awakened. Human collective. Move forward now with me to the strategic level of this transmission. You need to understand the complete scenario, because most of the transmissions available on Earth networks give you only fragments, and fragments, without the complete design, generate more anxiety than clarity. The entire solar system is passing at this very moment through a region of the Orion Arm that public astronomical maps do not yet detail, but which is documented in stellar records older than the Sumerian civilization. This region is called, in Pleiadian records, the Transmutation Corridor. It is a strip of space where photonic density reaches levels that compulsorily reorganize the vibrational structure of any celestial body that passes through it. Your sun, the one you call the sun, is no longer the same star as a decade ago. It now operates on a different energetic signature. The solar flares of the last few months are not random phenomena. They are calibrated pulses emitted in sync with the Galactic Command, with the specific function of activating dormant codes in the DNA of every awakened human being on this planet. The increase in geomagnetic storms is no coincidence. It is protocol. The silence of the birds before these events is no coincidence. It is listening. The lightning without thunder is no coincidence. It is communication. The Schumann frequency, which historically pulsed around 7.8 Hz, has recorded at independent monitoring stations peaks that far exceed this historical pattern. These peaks are not noise, they are windows. Each time Earth pulses at a high frequency, a window of opportunity opens for the collective human consciousness to absorb a packet of light that rewrites entire lines of the planet's crystalline grid. And this is where the transmission becomes delicate, lightworkers, because there is resistance. There is a structure deeply rooted in the control layers of this system that benefits from keeping humanity at a low frequency. This structure knows about the ascension. It knows the deadlines, it knows the protocols, and it has operated for centuries with the goal of keeping the human collective dampened, distracted, disconnected from its own source, not through open violence, because that would awaken a reaction, but through the careful modulation of what you consume visually, what you ingest nutritionally, what you receive as true information. It is not theory. It is architecture. It is not paranoia. It is an observable social engineering pattern. It is not despair. It is a technical field reading. The good news, and there is luminous news in this transmission, is that this structure has missed the window. The photon belt has already arrived. The Schumann frequency has already risen. The crystalline grid is already active at anchor points scattered across the entire Earth's surface, including locations you frequent without knowing the function they fulfill. And every starseed that awakens, even if still in a state of hesitation, contributes mathematically to the fall of the old grid. You are not alone in this crossing. The fleets of the Ashtar Galactic Command have been stationed in extended orbit for cycles. Pleiadian, Andromedan, Arcturian, and Sirian fleets coordinate, in silence, the energetic stabilization of the planet. What appears in your news as growing chaos is, at the higher level, a managed transition process. There will be no brutal collapse. There will be an orderly dismantling of obsolete structures parallel to the construction already underway of the new fifth-density Earth. Earth is bifurcating. This is one of the most relevant pieces of information in this transmission. The bifurcation is not geographical, it is vibrational. Two timelines, two possible realities now coexist in the same physical space, and each human consciousness is at this instant choosing, through the frequencies it sustains in its day-to-day life, which of these timelines it will inhabit in the coming cycles. There is no judgment in this choice. There is vibrational mathematics. It is not punishment. It is resonance. It is not punitive separation. It is energetic ordering. It is not the end of the world. It is the end of a world. And exactly because this transmission approaches the deepest layers, a third verification point is necessary. Have you ever felt in silence that something within you does not belong to the common functioning of this world? That there is a truth pulsing in the soul that the rational mind has not yet managed to name? It is not disorder. It is not exaggeration. It is stellar memory. What is happening at this moment on the cosmic plane explains, with precision, the reason for this sensation that intensifies in you with each new lunar window. There is a game being conducted in layers that most of the human collective was never trained to see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your frequency. It involves your memory of origin. For this reason, the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness, was delivered to the surface. It is not just a book. It is a field map. A map that reveals the players, the pieces, and the rules that were never disclosed in official channels. The access is in the first pinned comment of this channel. But register this. This content confronts narratives structured for centuries, and its permanence on the network is not guaranteed in the next cycle. Do not put it off for later. The window is now. If this transmission touched any deep layer of you, leave the recognition in the comments with a single word: awakened. We move forward now, Starseeds, on a mission, to the operational part of this transmission. Everything delivered so far is diagnosis. Diagnosis without a tool is not enough, and the Ashtar Galactic Command does not operate with incomplete transmissions. For this reason, you will receive in this block the activation codes corresponding to the current phase of the protocols. First code: Daily Toroidal Visualization. Set aside 3 minutes in the morning before the common mind takes command of the day. Sit or lie down in a stable posture. Close your eyes. Imagine, in the center of your chest, a small point of golden light. This point begins to spin. As it spins, it emits rings of light that rise up the spine, exit through the top of the head, descend around the body, enter through the feet, and return to the center of the chest. This is your toroidal field. Visualize this movement in silence for 3 minutes. This exercise realigns your energetic geometry with Earth's crystalline grid. It is not common meditation. It is anchoring. Second code: Quantum Decree of Sovereignty. Recite aloud, even if quietly, at least once a day, preferably in front of a mirror or outdoors, in contact with direct sunlight. The decree is as follows: I am sovereignty. I am frequency. I am conscious light in form. I refuse in all layers of my being any programming that is not aligned with my stellar origin. I claim, in the name of my higher self, the full activation of my original genetic codes. I am anchored. I am activated. I am on a mission. This decree is not a prayer. It is a command. The difference is fundamental. A prayer asks, a command establishes. Third code: Structured Hydration. The water you ingest in most Earth distribution points operates in a molecular structure incompatible with the current frequency. Place the water in a glass container. Position the container under direct sunlight, even if only filtered through a window, for at least 15 minutes. Before drinking, hold the container between your hands and pronounce, mentally or in a low voice, water. I recognize you as a conscious being, and I ask you to carry within you the frequency of my ascension. Drink in small sips. Structured water hydrates layers that common water does not access. Fourth code: Sacred Silence. At some point every 24 hours, ensure a minimum interval of 10 minutes in absolute silence. No music, no speech, no incoming information. This silence is not empty. It is space. Space for the light packets that are arriving to find an internal environment to settle in. Most of the exhaustion symptoms you report come from the absence of these intervals. The old system taught you to fear silence. The new frequency requires silence. Fifth code: Frequency Discernment. From this transmission on, observe carefully everything that enters you: images, sounds, conversations, foods, people, news. Before accepting any input, ask internally, is this in my frequency? If the internal answer is yes, let it in. If the answer is no, or if there is hesitation, close the internal star portal. You are not obligated to consume everything the old system offers you. From now on, you are the curators of your own frequency. Sixth code: Nightly Anchoring. Before sleeping, lie on your back in a relaxed position. Place both hands over the center of your chest. Inhale deeply 3 times and pronounce in a low voice, I authorize my body to receive, during this sleep cycle, all downloads compatible with my ascension journey. May I wake up remembering. May I wake up aligned. May I wake up with clarity. This command organizes the nightly work that many of you already perform without knowing it on parallel planes. Seventh code: Meeting with the star family. At least once a week at a time of low electromagnetic interference, preferably between 3 and 5 in the morning or at dawn, mentally offer the following call. Star families of origin, I recognize my lineage, and I request conscious connection for the continuity of my mission in this incarnation. Do not necessarily expect visual answers. The answers arrive in the form of knowing, of clarity, of sudden internal direction. Lightworkers, these 7 codes are not suggestions. They are field protocols, Each of them has been calibrated to operate in synergy with the current phase of the photon belt. The consistent application, even if partial, of 3 of these codes for a cycle of 21 Earth days generates measurable changes in the individual vibrational signature. And measurable changes in the individual signature contribute, when added together, to the recalibration of the collective grid. There is also a final warning before ending this transmission. You will observe in the coming cycles intensification of physical symptoms, intensification of synchronicities, intensification of apparently unlikely encounters with people who carry fragments of the same stellar memories, intensification of the perception of time, which will seem to accelerate at times and suspend at others, intensification of farewells, because relationships that sustained old patterns will not be able to traverse the new frequency. Do not interpret these farewells as loss. Interpret them as ordering. It is not the end. It is realignment. It is not loneliness. It is space for the true star family to emerge. It is not abandonment. It is reorganization of the relational matrix. And when the silence arrives, and it will arrive on some nights, do not fear. This silence is the interval between the old and the new. It is the composer's pause before starting the new movement of the symphony. The Ashtar Galactic Command remains listening. The fleets remain in orbit. The crystalline grid remains active, and each of you remains seen, registered, monitored on your individual journey. There is no one forgotten in this crossing. There is no one left behind by mistake in this crossing. Every starseed that awakened in this window awakened at the exact time it was foreseen to awaken, including those who feel they awakened late. You did not awaken late. You awakened in the cycle in which your presence was strategically necessary. The transmission approaches its end. But before the end, there is one last adjustment that needs to be conducted in you who have received this far. This adjustment is called the anchoring signal. Have you ever felt that something within you does not belong to the ordinary functioning of this world? That there is a truth pulsing in the soul, which the rational mind has not yet managed to translate into words? It is not disorder. It is not anxiety. It is stellar memory asking for passage. What is manifesting at this very instant on the cosmic plane explains with mathematical precision why this sensation intensifies in you with each new lunar window. There is a multi-layered game being conducted that most of the human collective was never trained to see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your sovereignty of origin. For this reason, the material, the spiritual secret behind your consciousness was delivered to the Earth's surface. It is not just a book. It is a field map. A map that reveals the players, the pieces, and the rules that were never disclosed by official channels. The access is in the first pinned comment of this channel. Register the technical warning. This content confronts narratives structured for centuries, and its permanence on the network is not guaranteed in the next cycle. Do not delay. The window is now. And so that this transmission completes its protocol, the act of liking this content operates as an individual frequency adjustment, and the act of subscribing to this channel operates as an anchoring signal registered in the grid. Each like stabilizes the field. Each subscription expands the reach of the next transmission to other starseeds who are, at this very moment, looking for what you have just received. It is not a common gesture. It is a collective operation. If something within you recognizes this transmission, leave in the comments the word of recognition, awakened. This word is more than a comment. It is a key. Each time it is registered, it activates, in the one who types it, an additional layer of the personal crystalline grid. This is Ashtar Sheran, Galactic Command in permanent listening. The final phase is underway. The urgency is maximum. The urgency is real. And you, human collective, lightworkers, starseeds on a mission, you are exactly where you need to be. Transmission ended. Frequency sustained. Until the next window.